describe Midwestcon in one word, I would say.
So again, Midwestcon, I got to go because my job let me go today. It was very exciting.
The pause, like how big is your little baby tiger going to be, or razor sharp teeth at birth?
My experience was great. I've never had experience creating any type of bot or app directly this way.
So like before coming here, I never thought of having such a fun experience. I really enjoyed what I had here.
Hi, my name is Manuel Cooper. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I work for the Department of Defense, so I'm a military officer and also a civilian as well. So I'm just here to learn some great new opportunities in AI.
I was one of the first women from my family to come here, and there are kids and nephews and nieces who are coming behind me, and I'm just gonna send them a link to this chatbot. I will ask them to come and confirm it with me, but this is where you go first.
I would say innovative.
Hey everybody, Rob Richardson here, Chief Curator of Midwestcon and founder of Disruption Now. We're recapping day one and it was just exciting. You had to be here. We opened up with the human code and talking about intelligence and abundance with yours truly. And I was also excited to hear from the next panel, which we talked about brains, bots, and the future of learning. We had the CIO from the University of Cincinnati. We had founders talk about that debate, have that healthy exchange about what the future of education and learning should be. And then, of course, we actually capped off talking about what it means to talk to AI about your kids. When AI seems like a friend, but it is not. It's supposed to be a tool. And so our goal, as always, is to empower, inform, and we'll have a little entertainment and fun, of course. So day one was exciting. I cannot wait for day two. So if you missed day one, you got to come out on day two. And as always, keep disrupting.
So my name's Jennifer Sharp, and I work for Alta Fiber here in Cincinnati, and I am in the Learning and Development Department. I basically kind of oversee and handle a lot of our corporate-wide training initiatives, so the training that touches all of our employees. So I am with a whole collective of people who are focused on how can we increase and look at AI usage throughout the company. So this is just a great avenue to see what are some of the different ways people are going about being exposed to different AI tools and learning about these tools, and just hoping to take some of this knowledge back and translate that into our business.
And so what brought you to Midwestcon this year?
So again, Midwestcon, I got to go because my job let me go today. It was very exciting. So we had a couple availability for spots for people to go. And so being part of our AI ambassador team and our learning and development team, I got priority, which is exciting. I think my biggest takeaway is that when you pull a group of people together who come from very different backgrounds and have very different experiences and work in different industries, that you can really get very creative with the problems you can solve for using AI. If I were to explain Midwestcon in one word, I would say collaborative.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell me why you came to Midwestcon as a representative of Alta Fiber.
So I work for Alta Fiber here in Cincinnati, and we're just starting to kind of look at the different ways we can engage our employees in using AI more in their work to help just increase their efficiency, get creative. You know, we're spending some great time today trying to figure out how to solve for problems and solve for, you know, things that are going on in everyday lives. And what if you can empower a whole force of employees to think about how can we solve for business problems that we have using AI. Yeah. And so it's just kind of neat to come together and see how you can bring a collective of creative people together to do that. And then, you know, how can we then look at maybe translating that into our workforce to tap into some of that potential.
So bringing it in more to like your teams and your companies and going, hey, what are some of the things that you could automate? What are some of the problems?
Yeah. Well, and I like here too, because you're bringing a collective of people who are so very different from one another and come from different areas. I think when you get teams together, like there's so much like-mindedness that sometimes you miss stuff within that. So I almost really like the idea of bringing employees together who are working in different areas of the company, who are exposed to very different things, and having them kind of like, brainstorm.
Break up kind of that silos thinking.
Yeah.
You get people from different departments, and you have different perspectives, different angles on the product and what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and expose them to some of these different AI tools that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with, like the agent building and things like that. So,
where do you see you mentioned like AI, you want to get AI in Altifiber so that you guys aren't left behind. Where do you see like Midwest innovation and tech going, like in the next 2 or 3 years?
I think it's going to be embedded in business, and if you don't get on board, you're going to get left behind eventually. So I think it's just going to be embedded into like an everyday portion of people's jobs now. Like it's going to be commonplace, like Outlook, is now.
I think it's going to be very much like Google or Gmail.
Yeah.
Just kind of like.
Exactly. You use it every day.
As a tool.
Yeah.
And so I see that. Yeah.
When I first started working, we didn't have, Microsoft Teams. We didn't have Skype. That was kind of like the earlier. There were no these tools to keep you connected across geographies, and you had to pick up the telephone, right?
The timing of it, like just where we are as a society and in the era. We saw an increase in Zoom usage because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so I think timing and society itself kind of like influences greatly what tech tools we're using.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I see kind of a need for more of a global connection, more relationships, more efficiency, and so you see kind of a big emphasis on AI in the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So we gotta get on board with it.
Thank you so much for talking with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
My name is Tim Stiggers. I am the pastor of Faith Temple Ministries here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am a Cincinnati native, born in Atlanta, Georgia, but a Cincinnati native.
And what brought you to Midwestcon this year?
So again, my wife kind of found out about Midwestcon, and being a pastor, it is for me a mission now because of the generation that we have now coming up, to kind of figure out how to leverage technology to use for this next phase of ministry.
What were you hoping to get out of this experience, and what has been your biggest takeaway so far?
So what I'm hoping to get out of this experience is more or less the learning of what we can do with artificial intelligence, and I feel like learning what we can get out of this may give me a better plan of action going forward for ministry and what I want to do with the tools that we have learning from here.
How do you see this event impacting your work and your goals?
How I see this event impacting my work and the goals that we have so far is we do a lot of outreach right now so far with the church, and the impact it's grown already just by word of mouth, but I would veer to say I can't even imagine how much further it could grow leveraging technology. To describe Midwestcon in one word, I would say innovative.
What do you see as like the Midwest kind of like secret tool? Like what is our special sauce when it comes to being in the field of tech?
So in particular, Cincinnati, I feel like technology here is growing a lot faster than some people may think, but I think that we are showing that we have a lot to contribute to advancing the technology platform. And I think that for me, for what I've seen, like I said, being a pastor, a lot of pastors and stuff are not, they don't want to touch technology. And for me, it's more or less, how can we leverage technology in ministry? Because it's important, because we have a generation that is almost completely reliant on technology. So if we could get the message of Jesus out in that same platform, everything else is being done in the platform. So why not try to explore that leverage as well in the church?
It's using the technology for the message of your own field, for the message of your own work, which I think is important across the board.
Yeah, yeah, and part of our mission, of course, the commission of Matthew 25 is to reach out to get people resources, and that's kind of what we were discussing in there as far as our idea and stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep a little bit of it under a hat, but that is kind of where we were going with what the discussion was.
Well, I'm interested to see what y'all come up with at the end of the day. Thanks for talking.
I am too.
And probably the most important question of all is like, when this baby tiger grows up, like, what happens when you don't want it anymore? Like, we are right now in an age where AI models have been out long enough to die and get sold on the open internet. Do you know your DNA? Some of your DNA is available for sale to the highest bidder. So this is not a good time, right? So these baby tigers will grow up, they will get big, and if you have not thought through how big it'll get, how it's gonna keep getting fed in order to get well, what is that food data, your customers' data, marginalized society's data. Like, there are so many questions that have to happen, and the smaller the tiger is when you ask them, the more effective you can be in actually building a scalable system. That's why my book is called Scaling Responsible AI. It's about taking baby tigers and the excitement and enthusiasm we're gonna harness today and turning that into execution, scalable, responsible, safe artificial intelligence. Now, I will tell you, I was introduced to a quote by Jeff Bezos, and I want to mention it here because I think, like I said, these are all the practices that I learned to build what I built. So I think it's useful. But this is a quote that Jeff Bezos took a picture of a frame on his fridge, and he posted it on Twitter, so that dates it because it was not the X. So what is success? To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to appreciate, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate the beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.
So like before coming here, I never thought of having such a fun experience. I really enjoyed what I had here.
As for me, and I hope I speak for the whole team, we learned so many new things, and I think what we gained the most was confidence that we can do anything. And I know for a fact, I was one of the first women from my family to come here, and there are kids and nephews and nieces who are coming behind me, and I'm just gonna send them a link to this chat bar. I will ask them to come and confirm it with me, but this is where you go first.